Okay, I'm delighted today to be welcoming Margaret Sinclair, who is a former osteopath, onto the first ever podcast of OsteoFM. So we're going to find out what she does now, why she went into osteopathy, why she left osteopathy, and all sorts of other interesting information about her. So hello, Margaret.
Hello, my lovely. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really excited because I've known you when I was an osteopath and I did follow and really was inspired by you. So this is actually really exciting for me.
All right, fantastic, fantastic. Right, so let's start off with how did you get into osteopathy? So you didn't go into osteopathy straight from school, did you?
No, I was what they called a mature student, though I don't think we were that mature, in all honesty. My first degree was in zoology, but I was in the back of a car in a car accident and all sorts of problems, as you can imagine, after that.
So zoology. So you were actually interested you were a bit sciencey.
I was always very sciencey. My A levels were biology, chemistry, and physics. I love animals. I've got 4 cats. I ended up doing animal osteopathy. Not smart enough or crazy enough to be a vet, but I did zoology first, yes.
Right, but did you have a job after zoology? What were you doing after that?
No, to truly get into zoology, you have to do your degree, then you have to do a master's, then you have to do a PhD, and then you have to do several years volunteering before you even get to a paid job, and that just wasn't practical.
Okay. So you'd done your degree, you'd graduated, you were just, knocking around doing various jobs?
Yeah, my CV is eclectic and interesting. Sales, forensic science, all sorts of stuff.
Right. Yeah, so forensic science, that sounds interesting.
Not as much as you would have hoped or thought watching television, shall we say.
Okay, you went Dexter.
I was not Dexter. I wasn't CSI.
Right, okay.
No, it was processing tubes in a window with in a lab with no windows for a year.
Right. Okay. So then you had a car accident.
I was in the back of the car, and I always say that because that implies I wasn't driving.
Yeah.
And I'm hypermobile.
Okay.
So my joints all went wonky, and I had a lot of problems since.
What was it kind of, were you kind of in hospital with broken bones, or was it kind of whiplashy strains?
It was whiplashy strains. It was pins and needles into the hands, numbness, a lot of pain, basically, that lasted decades, really. But thankfully, that is now behind me due to various things. But it led me to find an osteopath because someone said you need an osteopath, and it was that. You know what it's like when someone has chronic pain. They have that eternal search of trying all the different things.
Yeah. So had you tried other things first?
Yeah, physiotherapy, acupuncture helped quite a lot, but not completely. Massage, but ended up speaking to a fabulous osteopath called Chris Eady up in London, who I don't believe practices anymore. And yeah, it was amazing. And I just went, oh, I want to be able to do that for people.
Right. Did you know what osteopathy was before that?
Not a clue.
No. Okay, so that's a similar path to a lot of osteopaths, I think. It was through their own treatment, wasn't it? And what kind of osteopath was he? What sort of treatment did he do?
He was structural towards cranial.
Okay, so a good mix. So then you made the massive decision to go and do another degree.
Yes, and because I had to keep working through it, it then had to be kind of a mixed mode with the British School of Osteopathy. So that lasted 5 years.
Okay, and that was 2000 and...
Oh gosh, I think I started 2006, so I would have qualified 2011.
Okay, and that was a good experience, was it? Was it at Borough?
Yeah,
it was at the building at Borough, wasn't it?
It was the building at Borough, and the people I studied with were amazing and inspirational, and the teachers, most of them were absolutely brilliant. It was, I'm not academically gifted, so it was a slog for 5 years, but I knew I'd love it. The second that I actually got into clinic,
right,
in those final 2 years, the second I got there, my very first day there, they kind of went, there's no one for you to be with. It's an easy person, go and do it on your own. And I was like, no, hang on, we're just training right now. But I did. I walked in and I walked out and went, this is exactly what I want to do. And this is why I'm slogging through it.
Right. You'd found your purpose, your niche.
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. Brilliant. So you graduated from the BSO, and then where did you go to work?
I went back down to a place in Brighton where I'd been a sport massage therapist while I was training. So it was actually to work for a chiropractor who...
Whereabouts was that? Because
Oh
I'm in
God,
Brighton, obviously. This is
it's
where
in
we met.
Hove. It's not there anymore, but
Okay.
it's in Hove. A
Right.
lovely chiropractor who was very, very gentle and very supportive. And I'd worked for her as a massage therapist for a few years whilst doing my training because I thought it'd be useful. And a lot more flexible than a standard job. But yeah, so she just said, right, come back down. I'll employ you as an osteopath. That was great. That was nice to be able to go out and go straight into a job.
Great. And you were confident and it all went well, your career?
Well, I don't know if anybody's confident the first time they go out there, are they? You kind of stand there and go, oh, there's no tutor to ask if this goes... But quite quickly, but because I've been doing sport massage, I knew how to handle patients on my own. Right. I knew how to create, sort of treatment plans. I all of that was second nature because I've been doing it for 5 years. So it was just implementing osteopathic techniques that I was suddenly allowed to do. So it wasn't as probably scary and horrible as it could have been, but it was still that first time going, ah.
Yeah. And so were you very much a structural osteopath at the start?
No, I'd already started doing cranial courses and looking at balanced ligamentous technique. It was always a bit more of a softer, rounded edge.
Were you did you go the Sutherland route, or where did you do your cranial courses? Was that...
People would come into the BSO and do them. So that's what I did it with.
Okay, with the BSO. Okay. Right. And so did you get to the point you had your own practice then?
I was an associate and had my own practice.
Okay. And this is in Lancing because, Margaret and I actually met in Brighton on a workshop about procrastination, but more about that later. So I actually know roughly the area where you live. So you live and work now in Lancing, and
I do.
And you worked from home, did you?
Well, at the time, I kind of started off in London and then moved to Brighton. So it was more over that way. Right. But yeah, it was going to people's homes up in London, and then in Brighton, I managed to rent out a room, which I would get people to come to. Or sometimes people would come to the house, and I had, you'll love this, I had this big ginger cat. I mean, sort of think Garfield, but not so fat. Right. And he would sometimes come in with clients. And he would spoon them as they were lying on their side. And it was always clients who chronic pain or a history of abuse.
Oh, well, your cat could distinguish who needed special feline healing. Wow.
And he would just lie there. I mean, he wasn't purring. He was just sitting there. He wasn't all lovey, but he would just, he would end up soggy with people's tears, just releasing.
Right.
It was magic. So people loved coming to the house if they could. Okay. But then he was a cat. So there would be days when people would turn up and he'd be like, yeah, no, not today. And they go, oh, but he's not here. And I'd have to go, you obviously don't need it today.
You didn't charge extra for the cat. So, and you also treated dogs, am I right?
Horses,
and horses.
Yes.
So where did you do your training in animal osteopathy? Who did you do that with?
Stuart McGregor.
Stuart McGregor, okay. And do you ride yourself?
I no, I've been on the horse maybe twice, and it was an unmitigated disaster. Certainly the first time.
But you must have felt quite confident to treat horses then. I mean, they're quite big and...
Oh, to begin with, no, absolutely. I went on this, I started the course thinking treating dogs would be great. And it turned out to be more horse-based. So I thought, well, I need to get good around horses quite quickly. Uh-huh. So I asked everyone if anybody had horses or knew people who had horses I could practice on. Mm-hmm. And one person said yes. And once I went there, I was just sort of stretching it out. And thankfully, it was quite a small pony. Mm-hmm. But then more and more people let me practice on their horses because the horses were loving it. So I just got used to horses, but I'm quite good with animals anyway. So it didn't matter. When they're on the ground, I'm fine. When I'm not on the ground, it's not.
Right. Okay.
Fine. It's a long way down. But yeah, I really enjoyed actually working with the horses. It was quite interesting. As long as you're calm and confident with a horse, they're usually good.
Right. Okay. And dogs, what do people bring dogs for generally?
Everything you would with a human. Injuries, sprains. Okay. A common one was somebody would go from a carpet to having hardwood floors. And of course, their dog all of a sudden didn't have any traction and was sliding around everywhere, which the dog thought was great, but really ended up with a lot of shoulder injuries.
All right. That's an interesting one.
Arthritis,
Wooden
all sorts of
floors.
stuff.
Right. So it's all ticking along quite nicely. You were enjoying work. You were loving being an osteopath.
Loved it.
You loved it. Okay.
I would wake up on Monday and just go, yes.
Right. Wow. Brilliant. Okay. And so, but then something went wrong. So
Yes.
you ended up leaving osteopathy. So tell us how that began.
So as I previously mentioned, I'm hypermobile.
So do you actually have Ehlers-Danlos?
No, it's not that severe. But I do have really stretchy skin. I scar really easily.
Right.
All your standard signs. You know, do the splits fairly easily.
Right.
Touch my toes, and I never stretch. Should stretch, I know. But eventually, I ended up getting arthritis in my hands and my shoulders.
Right. Okay.
And it got to the point where I tried everything I could think of: acupuncture, herbs, exercises, releases, taping, everything. But it just got to the point where I just went, I have to make a decision, or I'm going to be in pain for the rest of my life.
Okay, so you were living with pain on a daily basis, were you? And was it worse when you actually, treated people?
Oddly, no, it was always afterwards. So it was in that early stage of arthritis.
Right.
And I knew that if I continued, it would properly damage, and then I would be in that very difficult state where even with rest, it wouldn't go away.
Right. So you were in the kind of early stages of osteoarthritis. Okay.
Yeah.
And so that must have been quite a massive decision. I mean, if nothing else, just financially, you were because you're living.
The thing is, as an osteopath, as a very well-trained osteopath, you are only a very well-trained osteopath. If you need to then translate that to anything else and get a normal job, it's really hard. So, I mean, I did take a career break for a few months to see if that would help, and then went back, and that didn't help. So in the end, I had to make the jump. I just had to make that decision of what was right for me physically in the short term, and kind of just try and find plan B. But it was emotionally and mentally really hard, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. And so what was plan B?
So plan B ended up being inspired by my osteopathy work, thankfully.
Yeah.
So I'd noticed really quickly that, you know what it's like. If you've got a patient and they're stressed and they're in pain, if you can calm them down, their pain starts going away and they heal faster.
Yeah, absolutely.
So exactly. Yeah. You know, and what I'd already been doing is trying to create those situations for people. So I had already started researching mindfulness. I had already started researching something called emotional freedom technique or tapping technique, because that's just brilliant with pain. So I'd already gone and got those under my belt, because I'm one of those people, I won't do something unless I'm trained and insured. It's not, let's just have fun with this. It's like, no, I need to.
So you were using these as adjunctive therapies in your osteopathic practice anyway. So you were already doing what, hypnotherapy?
Not then, that came a lot later.
Okay, but you're doing EFT.
And mindfulness.
Mindfulness, okay. And you were dealing quite a lot with the emotional and psychological side of your patients as well.
I've always attracted very complicated biopsychosocial patients.
Right.
So by helping them with that side, able to reduce the pain and increase the healing. So I just took that and ran with it and added other qualifications.
Okay. So then you trained in hypnotherapy as well?
Yep.
Yeah.
So breath work, somatic work, hypnotherapy. And then I found that because I was helping people on a journey, I added things like life coaching and business coaching, because I deal with quite a lot of businesses, business entrepreneurs and solopreneurs now. And like I said, I don't like doing stuff unless I know what I'm doing and I'm qualified and insured. Yeah. So I found that by adding all of these different elements, I created not just a hypnotherapy or not just emotional freedom technique. It's much more well-rounded, and I've just got more tools in my toolbox. It's a bit like with osteopathy. You'll study cranial osteopathy and emotional freedom technique and pediatrics and
and it means you get somebody you can think, what does this person in particular need? I've got a range to choose from.
Yeah.
So you've got a business now which is called Mind Tamers.
Yes.
Yeah. And so that's it's got a fantastic website. I would recommend everyone go and look on the website. It's got a load of, I noticed, free resources and paid for resources. So have you written some of these? Are they books or are they're scripts? You've written books now.
I've written everything that's on there.
Right.
So like with the emotional freedom technique, sometimes having a script to use is really helpful. So I've got...
Is that a script, that you read to yourself? I don't know much about EFT. All I know is that people tell me it works really well. It involves tapping, and you wouldn't think it would work. That's basically the sum total of my EFT knowledge.
That's perfectly encapsulated how I felt when I first started. In fact, when I was first introduced to it, I thought it was a joke. I thought somebody had a camera and was trying to get me to do something silly and make a fool of me. But it turned out actually to be mind-blowing. And I walked out of that property going, I have to learn more and be a practitioner in that. But yeah, there are various points, which are acupuncture points and acupressure points. And what you can do is you can use it in so many ways. And on my website, I've got a link to just the basic how-to. But because
that free video link, isn't it? A free link, how to do EFT. Yeah, which I will look up later. Yes.
But it's just, I've got books of scripts for different types of things, where people can just sort of, they can have something to say that calms them down.
Right.
Different ways of using it.
Okay. Okay, brilliant. You've also got a free limiting beliefs quiz on there. I know. So a lot of that is about people overcoming what's getting in the way of them trying, achieving, succeeding, getting on with what they want to get on with. Yeah. So how would you sum up Mind Tamers? How would you sum up? What
on earth do I do? I help people tame their mind, and that's the long and the short of it. A lot of what I do is I help people with their limiting beliefs, because they're like little programs that run in the back of our minds and our subconscious mind, and it's like in our phones and computers. They're programs that run that we don't even know are running. And our beliefs affect our thoughts, and our thoughts affect our behaviors and actions. So if you want to change what's going on and how you act and react, often reacting, not thinking it through, we have to change our beliefs first. So a common one is, I'm not good enough. I don't deserve this. Fear of failure. Now, if that is a belief that you have in the back of your mind that runs, that is what you are going to express. If you're scared of failing, are you really going to try hard to achieve that thing you would love to achieve? Because if you fail at that, your brain thinks it's so dangerous and so out there, out of the tiny comfort zone that we live in. Do it properly.
And so how do you change that? Through a combination of all these different methods you've got? Yep.
So I spend quite a lot of time questioning and poking and prodding, and finding out what the belief is. And where it's come from. And then we go in and we basically go in and get rid of it. There's lots of different techniques. Like you said, with all the different things I do, I just find what's best for that person and then reinforce it.
Okay, great. And do you enjoy this as much as doing osteopathy?
I do now. It took a while for me to, I think, grieve, in all honesty. Because it was something I loved, and I late bloomer, finally found something I A, loved, and B, was actually really quite good at. And then it kind of all just disappeared overnight. But I've now built Mind Tamers up to something where Monday morning it's like, yes.
Okay. So
I'm back there.
Because I get frustrated with not being able to do hands-on work on people.
I do still have a client, but I just use them as a massage therapist now. I just have a couple of clients who I bless them. I can't really seem to get rid of them even after all these years, but that's absolutely fine. But yeah, I do now really just love what I do. I get to see the changes in people. I get to see that transformation to them and then their family as well. Because once you change what's in here, and in here, you then go out and you deal with the people that you interact with more calmly, more softly, with more kindness. And that really has a beautiful ripple effect.
Excellent. So I was quite surprised, though, considering how much you loved osteopathy. You said to me that if you had your time again, you might just go straight into your kind of mind taming business.
Yes, I know. I did love it. I did truly love it. But it was the hardest 5 years of my life, that course.
What, the training? It's the training.
And then to have it taken away. If I could have just sort of skipped that 5 years and the pain of having it taken away, even for those gorgeous, I think it was 8-9 years of being an osteopath. If I could have gone to where I am now first, I would have been really happy.
Right. Okay.
It's not that I would wipe it all away. I have some amazing friends I'm still in contact with who I just consider family that I trained with.
Yeah.
You know what it's like.
Yeah. And hands and shoulders, are they okay now that you're not working? Yeah, they're fine.
As long as I don't do too much massage, I'm absolutely fine.
Okay. Well, brilliant. So, well, thanks very much for coming to talk to me today.
Thank you.
So quite a lot of osteopaths do end up leaving the profession, and it's always kind of interesting to know why. I think everyone's got slightly different story. I would recommend everyone go onto the Mind Tamers website. So if you had an osteopath, have you ever had an osteopath as a client before?
Yeah, a couple, like I said, because I help people who are business people. So most osteopaths are running their own little business. Just helping them be confident, going out networking, putting their face to social media is a really big one that I help with. But believing that they are more than good enough, believing that it's not scary going out there and promoting themselves, and just that confidence, because they're an amazing osteopath, but as a business person there's a lot of other stuff to it.
Yeah, and a lot of osteopaths they're good at treating patients, but the rest of it is a bit daunting, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I know somebody I was at college with who left osteopathy basically because she hadn't kind of realized how much of it was business, how much it was about building a business. And right. And so you offer packages, don't you? So if somebody comes to you, they get an initial consultation for free to see if it would be of benefit, and then they can actually purchase a kind of package. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So I'd always do a discovery call for free. It's a half an hour, and for some people, do you know what, that's all they need, and that's absolutely fine. Okay. But when you do any kind of therapy and coaching, you absolutely 100% have to trust that person. You have to feel a connection, you have to feel safe with them, and you have to trust them, because otherwise you're not going to do the work that needs doing. And that's what that discovery call is for, it's making sure that I am the right person for them, and that I can help them.
Right.
If both people say yes, I then work in packages. I used to do one or two, but it's just like osteopathy. You'll do a couple of sessions on someone and you'll just be starting to get there, like, yeah, it's not working, is it? And you go, well, no, we did talk about the fact that this would take a little bit of time because you spent your entire life getting to this point. We need some time to undo it. It's exactly the same with therapy. So I just went, you know what? I am working in packages. People are ready to make that change and really release themselves from what limits them. I am the right person for them. If they want to try a couple, I'm not the right person for them.
Right.
That's why I do packages. And then people knows how much it's going to cost.
Okay. And you also have this fascinating thing on your website, which I'm not going to be able to pronounce. I can say in English, rewilding the soul. So that's more working at a much more natural soul level with people. So can you, how do you pronounce that?
It's pronounced Fadechanam.
And that's Scottish.
It's Scottish Celtic. So half of my side, my dad's side is Scottish. So it's my Scottish roots.
Margaret Sinclair, I thought, had a bit of a Scottish ring to it. Yeah,
it certainly does. Yeah. And so there's really two sides to me. You know how a lot of us have this. And so I've got my really geeky scientific side, and that's all the hypnotherapy, the emotional freedom technique, the science behind the breath work. And then I've got my quite soulful natural side. And so I just went, I'll just do two different things, because then I can be truly myself and truly myself. And there's a little bit of overlap, but it's just all about being in cycle with nature, using very similar tools, in fact, just sort of mindfulness, meditation, but with a much more nature inspired. Right.
Brilliant. And you've got some kind of November the 6th, some kind of free workshop or something going on, haven't you?
I do. That's the Brighton one.
That's the Brighton one. Okay. All right. So if anybody's interested in, business coaching, life coaching, helping them get over their mental blocks and so on, I would strongly urge you to check out the Mind Tamers website, and I'll put a link below as well. So thanks. It's been absolutely fantastic, Margaret, talking to you, and how fortunate that I met you, because as part of your Mind Tamers, you were holding a workshop on procrastination. I've been procrastinating doing this for years, turned up and discovered that you were a former osteopath, and you were the perfect person to come on my first interview. So thank you so much.
I'm so pleased that you are doing this. It really is. It's going to be lovely, and you're going to be amazing at it. And thank you so much.
Great. Thanks very much.